So when they say, that's not right, we're gay. No, you're homosexual. Don't play the game.
Right, good point.
Same thing with this new transgender stuff, which I'm now fighting in Guilford. But I found a way, I think, to pull the string that will take the whole ball of yarn apart. And if I got more time after this, because I know I'm at 8 o'clock at this point. See, this is the problem with asking a blogger to come talk. I can talk about lots of stuff.
That's all the voice gives away.
It's doing rather well, and I still have more cough drops in my pocket. They're trying to really change the language.
They're deconstructivists.
I'm sorry?
They're deconstructivists.
They're deconstructivists, and as they continue to add new language, most people go, I don't even know what you're talking about, and they fall into that pattern. Once you fall into the Democrat speaking pattern or reasoning pattern, you've already lost. You might as well just pack it in and go home. And unfortunately, I do hear some of the Democrat words creeping into the NHGOP. And I heard it back at the last convention. And I should have written about it then. I will the next time it happens, because it is very insidious.
Yeah.
It comes in, it is literally the camel's nose under the tent wall.
They have a radical element that's crept into the Democratic Party in the last few years that are really, really extreme. And they are sophisticated. And what you're talking about is logocracy, it's Leninism. It's use about 430 words, mostly ending in ISM, and they control the actual reality, that they distort the reality that people see, but they especially are able to isolate people that are enemies to the use of it. And that's what they're doing now. I see that a lot in the country with the use of going after the white male conservative. And that is not a small issue, that's a massive, massive issue with younger kids, because in 10 years, those kids will be full-blown Bolsheviki.
Yeah.
Be right in your face.
The way to combat that is to demand that they define the terms before you start talking with them, especially if you already know what the terms are. Define that for me, please. Define that and that and that and that. And then you can string them together and defeat them at their own game. But it does take some time to learn their language and their definitions. But once you start, because they'll use language that is part of the common language, but they mean different things. They talk about equality. No, it's no such thing as equality. It's yet another protected class. And if you don't know what a protected class is, then you've already lost that debate. Yes, Keith?
But one way to parse it mentally is individualism versus collectivism. It doesn't matter what the terms are. They go to collectivism.
Oh, but you're selfish. You libertarian, you only care about yourself.
Exactly. But individuals cooperate with each other voluntarily. That's where it becomes a way that we all can prosper.
You've missed some really good debates on some of the comments on Quranic Rock. And if you notice, they've stopped the commenting on both the union leader and especially the Concord Monitor with that kind of thing came up all the time. As soon as I'd see something like that, I would just, you could give me a whole truckload of chocolate and I'd rather go do that. But yeah, but really, you're right. It's political correctness, but its real wording is cultural Marxism. Again, remember what I said earlier, they could never get the proletariat of America to go socialist because, frankly, we had a very rich society. People had money in their pockets, so they went after the culture. So, cultural Marxism. Yes, sir?
Oh, I was going to say, well, when I was saying the deconstructivist thing, though, I was reading a book and it was talking about how we used to believe that words describe things that already exist, but people are being taught now that words are used to create meaning rather than used to describe things that exist. And so then you pop out things that don't exist already.
Yep.
You're creating things and that's why the they and them, like pronouns and stuff, they're like, because gender was a construct, it's not a real thing. The word gender was,
The communists.
it was not a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Am I don't know if I'm speaking
no,
right.
you're correct. And
Okay.
they'll create new words, but they insidiously are
Yeah.
creating new definitions
Yeah.
without stating what those new definitions are.
Yeah,
And that's where you have to have, my favorite Martian antenna, I'm
Yeah.
dating myself. Those that ought to be quivering every single time you come up against somebody who is basically a cultural Marxist. One of those guys, and you gotta say, all right, I'm hearing it now, let's start the definition. As soon as you start to slow them down, that's when they get into trouble, because they can't. Yes?
So when you say what do you mean by that? What is the definition to a young person, to a college student or a high school kid?
All right, I'm facing this with, in 2008, the New Hampshire School Board Association put out a transgender policy called JBAB, which a lot of school systems have put it into place. Guilford is trying to put it into place because of Sununu's signing of HB 263, whereupon gender identity became a protected class. So the school boards are running wholesale. We have one transgender second grader. So it's turning over a whole 1,000 student
yeah.
school system.
Mhm.
I could go on for another half hour on this alone because I'm about to pull their strings on this.
Right.
But here's the deal. Part of it is called Guidance C, and it has to do with pronouns since you brought it up. And it says, a student has the right to be called by their preferred name and pronouns. A lot of people think about that and they start thinking English and this and that other thing. I'm a little weird. I went, so a student has a right. Who's granting this right? School board. School board's granting rights. I'm sorry, we are a Dillon state here in New Hampshire. The only thing that a subdivision of the state, a political subdivision, like a town or a city, or select board, city council, or school board, they are limited to only what authorizing legislation gives them. They can't go, they can do less, but they can't do more. I have 3 right to know requests into our school board because they've blown off the first 2 where the superintendent has either not answered the question or is answering different questions. So now I threatened them last week. I'm going to do this one more time. And RSA 91A has clauses 7 and 8, violations and remedies. I will haul you into Superior Court if you don't get this last one right. I had 5 days. I sent him a nasty gram later on earlier this afternoon saying, where's my answer, guys? And I will do what I said that I will do. But anyways, what is a right? A right is something that is innate to each of us. Government can't take it away. They can stop you from practicing it, but they can't take it away. The Bill of Rights enumerates some of those, like the right to free speech, which is the one that I'm concentrating on. I have the right to free speech. I can get up almost anywhere that I want, and I can say whatever I want. And the government cannot stop me. Now, the converse is also true. I can get up and I can start speaking. You don't have to listen to me.
Crop TV.